Welcome to Own Your Mobility. This is day 1. I appreciate you guys joining me in this challenge. Now here is the rules of the challenge. For the next 30 days, we are going to be working on 15 minutes of mobility every day. I have a timer here in my office. I'm going to be doing 15 minutes. If you need to do a little bit more mobility on your own, that's perfectly fine. The goal is to start working on your mobility, not on the same mobility that I am going to be looking for. Now, that said, a lot of the movements that I'm going to be coaching over the 15 minutes are going to help you in specific regions and specific patterns. So if you sit for long periods of time and you need more low back mobility, or you need better low back and hip mobility, then spend a couple of minutes doing a little bit more of that at home. Now the 15 minutes is a one session. If you need to pause or rewind a couple of steps, please go ahead and do so. For the most part, I want you to focus on your mobility. If you need to work a little bit more on ankle mobility when we get to ankles, then you're going to spend a couple of minutes, maybe 1 or 2 more in ankle mobility. So just take your time, follow along, and let's have some fun for the next 30 days. Okay, so I got 15 minutes on the clock. Today is an assessment kind of day. So the movements that I'm going to be doing today are the ones that we are going to assess 30 days from now and compare our results. Now, keep in mind, if your mobility is not the same as mine, then you can assess different motions. We're going to be doing an assessment overall today, so keep that in mind, and let's begin. Okay, nice and easy. We're going to start our assessment with just simple range of motion, touching our toes, right? So this is going to check our hips, our low back, and we're going to bring our feet close, nice and close together, and we're going to bring our palms as close as we can down to the ground. So here is where what I want you guys to feel. I want you to understand, are you touching the ground? Are your palms touching the ground? Okay, the longer we stay in this position, the further we're going to start melting into it. We're not going to spend too much time in each position today. This is mostly because I want to make sure that you guys are all doing the same motions and assessing. So after spending about 10 seconds here, we're going to come back up. We're going to take a deep breath in, and we are going to do it again. Most of the time, we're going to be doing the exercises twice, especially in the assessment, because the first time you may be a little stiff. That's understandable. So let's go ahead and do it again. So we go down, reach down, perfect, beautiful. So I'm able to reach down a little bit further. I'm almost pushing my hands into the ground, and I'm just passively letting my body move forward. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths in, let them out, 2 more. I'm slowly going to come back up. All right, what are some of the things that I want you to keep track of? First of all, don't bend your knees when you're reaching down, right? That's cheating. We're gonna keep our knees straight. Now, we're gonna go from feet close together. I want you to find your squat. Now, that squat may be pretty close, shoulder width apart. You may be able to sit down nice and straight. My heels come off the ground, so I'm going to go a little wider, right? Now, that tells me that I need to work on my dorsiflexion. So I am going to be working on my dorsiflexion through the next 30 days. So I'm gonna go wide. I'm gonna find my squat. Perfect. I found it. I'm just about shoulder width, outside of my shoulder width apart. And now I'm just gonna sit here for a couple of minutes. I want you to start thinking what you're feeling. My left hip is a little tighter. It feels a little tighter. It feels a little bit more tender. So I'm going to keep an eye on the next couple of days on how my hips feel. I'm just gonna nice and easy let myself sink in here. Elevate my chest slightly. And then come back up. All right, so that was our first repetition. We're gonna do it again. Remember, this is an assessment. I want you to take your time. I want you to start looking at what joints start talking to you a little bit more. Now, talking could be a little tender, could be a little discomfort, could be a little pain. If it's sharp and it stops you from doing something, ex-nay it, okay? Send me a message and we'll start troubleshooting what you can do in order to get to those positions as we move through the challenge. So here we go, one more time. Getting down into that squat, got myself into my position. I'm able to sit in here. Perfect. Okay, so my heel is coming up a little bit, so I'm gonna move my feet just a little wide. Perfect, nice and easy. Now, I'm not letting my knees just kind of come in here like that. I'm keeping them out, okay? I'm keeping them out, I'm staying active through this position. Knees are pushing slightly outwards. I'm not driving them completely out. I'm sitting down on my glutes are sitting down on my heels. Beautiful. Take a couple of breaths here. And as I'm ready to stand up, I'm gonna tense my body and I'm gonna push up. Nice. So I want you to keep in mind, what did you feel? What does your ankles feel? What do your knees feel? What do your hips feel? What is your back feeling? Right? I got a little bit of tightness in my back right now. I got a little bit of left hip pain, right? It's not painful, it's just uncomfortable for me. So that's why I'm kind of moving a little bit, okay? The next one is going to be a lunge position. So a lunge position, I am looking at a 90 degree up front, 90 degree in the back, and I'm gonna switch sides just a little bit so that you guys can actually see what my back foot is doing. My back foot, I am working on dorsiflexion of the toes, okay? I'm not just keeping my foot down, my foot is active, and I am going to maintain this position, and I'm gonna push a little bit so that my hip and my shoulder are in the same plane. I'm not sitting here, but I'm also not pushing my hips forward to where I feel stretched uncomfortable on the front. It's just right here. I'm gonna spend a couple of seconds on this. We are assessing hip extension at this point. We're looking at the psoas, we're looking at the iliopsoas, we're looking at your quadriceps as well, and we are looking at glutes, hamstrings, calves, and tibialis anterior, as well as your digitorum extensors of the foot and digits. So not gonna get super technical, apologies for that. We're gonna spend a couple seconds here. What is your body telling you? I feel a little bit right here, okay? So I'm probably gonna have to start working a little bit more on my hip extension. So, one, and now I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna do the other side. Again, 90 degrees from the leg down up, hip and shoulder in the same plane. I'm not trying to push. So now what are you feeling in this position? Now, the other leg, I felt it more in my hip. This one, I feel it more on my big toe. I'm feeling it a little bit more on my hip, but more so on my big toe. So I need to work a little bit more on toe extension on this side of my leg. Now it looks pretty good, feels pretty good. Nothing else is kind of screaming or telling me anything. Perfect, so I'm gonna go 3 more seconds, give it a couple of seconds, try to relax into this position. It's a little active and we're gonna get back up. All right, so we got shoulder flexion. We started with the lower extremities, right? So we started working with toe extension, with the toes, ankles, knees, and hips. So now we're going to look a little bit more at how we're going to be addressing the ankle. So I've already mentioned I have ankle dorsiflexion issues. So again, we're not using any other tools. If you have a pillow or something for the back knee, that's perfectly fine. For this one, I am going to be using a plate that I have here. But if you got a pillow at home, no big deal. It's just for comfort of the back leg. Now on this one, I am going to be a little bit more relaxed on the leg that's bent down. And I'm gonna be focusing a little bit more on the leg that is in front of me. I'm gonna bring my heel as far back as I can, right? So this is bending my knee, and I'm gonna put a little bit of pressure, and I'm just gonna lean forward. What's happening? Okay, my heel's already rising, okay? So if I go from a 90-90 position here, and I lean forward just a bit, my heel starts rising. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna work on that dorsiflexion as we move along through the next 30 days. But I am keeping track of everything that I gotta work on. All right, so now we're gonna switch to the other side. Move just back slightly so that you can see. So I'm bringing my leg, I'm staying in that 90-90 position, relaxed foot on the back. I have way better dorsiflexion. On this side, I can actually lean forward and my heel is still on the ground. So something that I've got to work on is toe extension on the left side, ankle dorsiflexion on the left side. This side, of course, obviously, the moment that I stopped moving, it elevated, right? So now moving up to the upper extremity. Now we're moving up the chain. So we're gonna look at shoulders, thoracic spine, and the neck as well. For this one, you're gonna wanna find a wall. We're gonna move up here next to my wall. And what I am going to do is, I'm going to be checking for shoulder circumduction. So I'm gonna get as close as I can. My bottom foot, my right foot closest to the wall is about maybe 3 or 4 inches. I got enough space for my hand to go through. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little tension on my lower body. I'm gonna squeeze my arm that's on the outside, so in this case it's my left side. And I'm gonna create just a small fist, a light fist on the right arm, and I'm gonna bring it next to the wall, not pushing against the wall, but I'm gonna see how far I can go back. And that's about as far as I can. Perfect. And now I'm gonna bring it down and I'm gonna go backwards. Good. Now, you're not gonna be able to keep well track on where you're at with this, but it would be very helpful if you record it yourself. Now, so we went up and we went back down. Keep in mind, keep track where you're at. Now we're gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna take a step forward because I think I'm gonna hit the rack. So we're gonna go forward. At the time that we get to the back, we're gonna roll. We're gonna see what happens. Now, I am pushing away from the wall because I don't have the circumduction that I need to finish next to the wall by myself, okay? So now I'm gonna bring it back. And you could probably hear my hand getting in the way there with the wall, rubbing on the wall. We're gonna do the same thing on the left side. You're gonna see the back side of me now. So, I'm gonna stay nice and easy. Come forward, create some tension with my lower body. So, my left arm, left side seems to be needing a little bit of work. Keep that elbow straight. You're gonna feel some muscles start working and activating. Keep going through, bring it down, reach back, get that baton. If you ran track, you know that baton. All right, moving forward. Circumduction, here we go. Up, 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 up. Once you reach, roll your wrist inside. Yep, it's pushing me away. You can hear it in my voice. I am struggling. And down. And then back, forward, trying to just move at your shoulder joint. Okay. It looks like I definitely need to work on scapular mobility, shoulder mobility, hip mobility, and left ankle mobility. So far, the only things that are probably moving well on me, my low back, my posterior hip, and my right side of the body, so far. Now we're gonna go into thoracic rotation and we're gonna finish up with the neck. So for thoracic rotation, we're gonna get a nice comfortable stance. You're gonna hug yourself like you like yourself, and you're just gonna point your elbows. And you're gonna rotate by not rotating your hips. Hips stay where they're at, and we're gonna rotate as far as you can. Beautiful. Bring it back to the middle. We're gonna go to the other side. Boom. Back to the middle. Again, we're gonna do this one more time. We're gonna go to one side. Don't let your hips move. And then to the other side. This is just an assessment. I'm gonna see how you're doing. Good. And then finally, with the arms here, extension, look up. What do you feel? And then bring it down into flexion. Bring it up. And bring it down. Notice I am moving my head. I am going into extension and flexion. Okay. In this one, we are testing the thoracic spine, but that thoracic spine is also testing, it is connected to your lumbar and your cervical spine, so it's a good way to test the whole spine itself. Finally, the neck. So we're gonna look at how our neck rotates, so look as far left as you can. What do you see? I see the top of my shoulder, I see the back of my shoulder. We're gonna rotate to the other side. Well, that's 15 minutes. We're almost done. It's a little harder. I can definitely feel the right side of my neck starting to contract a little bit more. Okay. Back to neutral, and then this one we're gonna do a slight chin retraction and then roll our head forward. And now into extension. Back down, chin retraction. And relax. Okay, so that was 15 minutes. We went through the whole body. Today was just an assessment. So what did I learn about my body today? Myself personally, gotta work on left toe, gotta work on left ankle, gotta work on the left hip, more so on the right. Got to work on the shoulders, both of them. Thoracic and lumbar spine, pretty good. Cervical, we could work on it. There was some tension on the right side, but not too bad. On the flexion portion of the neck, I did feel a little bit of tension in the back up there, but I know that that is because I squatted yesterday and I was working with the kabuki bar. Now, I want you guys to go ahead and do that. Keep a log of what you feel. And then, let's get ready to rumble tomorrow.